Hey there, welcome back to Total Geek Baltimore Presents. I'm Baltimore, and today I am bringing you Apocalypse Wars. Yes! This is the 2016 crossover, and I say crossover in the loosest term possible. This is basically a thematic crossover. You have three titles: Extraordinary X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and All New X-Men. And basically, this is sort of the tie-in to the movie X-Men Apocalypse. Very loosely tie-in, basically trying to cash in on that name. And for me, honestly, it did not excel. So each title had their own apocalypse story, own way to tell their own apocalypse story, to varying degrees of success. And I mean that I'm like, and I think I think the writers did a good job with what they could. I feel like this was very shoehorned, very editorially driven, which is kind of a shame. You have Jeff Lemire, you have Dennis Hopeless, and you have Rick Remender, who were writing the titles at the time. And I really do like their work. I think they're great creators, great writers. I just think, you know, this was a low point in the X-Men, universe. This is just after Secret Wars. X-Men were really treated like third, fourth tier property, but they knew they could still make money, so they kept doing it. And it was a real disservice to the fans. Anyway, back to Apocalypse Wars. So we'll take this in kind of like three different chunks because it's three different storylines. First, we do Extraordinary X-Men, which is a team consisting of Storm, Magic, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Old Man Logan, and I think that's it. So Colossus has decided to take on some students, which would be Anole, Glob, Ernst, and No Girl, and take them on a trip. You know, try to train them, teach them, you know, put them in the battle, but, you know, be the guide for them. So they end up going to Tokyo to combat Sugar Man, who is taking these mutant genomes in the Ark. And to kind of give you a backstory, there is these Terrigen mists that are going around the world, and if mutants get hit by this mist, they will die, or they'll get the Mpox. Which is the new version of the legacy virus, which of course didn't work out. So it's, you know, that's the stakes. You have to be either with the X-Men who are in X-Haven, which is where Extraordinary X-Men's base is in Limbo, Magic's Limbo world. Otherwise, if you were in the Earth, you would run the chance of being hit by the Terrigen mists and die. So there was a lot of mutants who went undercover and tried to, you know, hide and save themselves, and this was one of those attempts, the Ark. And so they go to the Ark to try to defeat Sugar Man, but he has a plan, and he's going to blow it up. So Colossus and the kids try to stop him, and then they're inadvertently sent many, many years into the future. And Storm and the rest of the Extraordinary X-Men meet up with them 12 minutes later. However, about a year has passed in between that time, because time's all wonky. And of course, in that time, Colossus has become a horseman of Apocalypse, along with Venom and Moon Knight and Deadpool. And they are attacking and trying to destroy and kill Anole, Glob, and Ernst and No Girl. So the X-Men finally arrive, and they're trying to stop them, and they're, you know, this is kind of a big, big situation because you have all four characters who have never been horsemen, so it's kind of interesting. And you have Apocalypse trying to stop the collapse of, you know, the world that's there. He's old and infirmed and not doing so well, and it's kind of a tough battle. They end up, of course, winning the day and returning back to the present, and they bring Apocalypse with them on the conceit that he has to restore Colossus. Well, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, he's going to do that, but he actually also sends him to Clan Akaba, which is his clandestine group that kind of takes care of all of Apocalypse's needs. Nightcrawler, as a form of retribution, teleports Apocalypse into the World Eater. So that's kind of this storyline. It's kind of like, yeah. Um, I feel like if you're going to make mutants into horsemen, you need to have ramifications for it, and this had 0 ramifications. So that's kind of a real unfortunate lost opportunity. So that's Extraordinary X-Men. Let's move on to All New X-Men. That's the Time Displaced 05, along with X-23, Oya, and Evan, who is the teenage clone of Apocalypse. So they are traveling around, and they know that Cyclops has been captured. They find him in the catacombs in Paris from Toad and Blob's attack. At this point, Beast is under the tutelage of Doctor Strange, learning magic. And Doctor Strange gives him the Eye of Horus, and that lets him see beyond science and beyond mysticism. So he's kind of combining these two different thoughts and abilities. So it's kind of interesting to see him flourish with that, but he also knows that Beast being Beast, he's going to muck things up. And so he and Evan, on Evan's birthday, get transported back to ancient Egypt, back to when Insabanor is a teenager. So you have teenage Insabanor, and you have teenage Evan, mirror images of the same, person. And at this point, shock of shock, Apocalypse is good. Didn't see that coming, did you? And so Evan wants to save him and take him away, because if he can be good, maybe he can be good forever. And Beast is captured by Clan Akaba. And they have to go save him. And when this whole thing rounds out, Apocalypse is taken by Clan Akaba, and Beast and Evan are sent back into the future. So that's what happened, and it's kind of like, oh, okay, kind of interesting, but like I said, there's no real ramifications for any of these storylines. We never really follow up on Evan and Sabanor. We never really follow up on that, so it's kind of like, okay, but what? It could be interesting. There could be a lot of things happening, but it just didn't, really amount to much. So that's All New X-Men. Then we have Uncanny X-Men, which is Magneto's team of X-Men, which is Psylocke, Monet, Sabretooth, Phantom X, Mystique, and Archangel. And so this was probably this was the best title in that time period. Interesting, a lot of great dynamics. Really enjoyed it. It's kind of the spiritual successor of the Magneto limited solo series, which definitely should pick up. But this is actually pretty good, because there were some really interesting character dynamics between Magneto and Psylocke for sure. And so basically, when the team started, Magneto, this takes place at the beginning of Uncanny X-Men, is 6 months after the end of Secret Wars. So after Secret Wars, he finds a amnesiac angel in his pale white feathered form, who is living in Colorado, and he speaks with him, and he's wants to give up his ways and not be fighting for mutants, or good or bad. And then he's inspired by Angel wanting to be, reforming his life, so he said, I'm going to do that too. So he ends up starting a team with all bad guys. Anyway, so in between that time, that Angel there has become a preacher in Colorado, and what we find out later is that he's the reborn version of the Life Seed Angel. And the church that he's preaching is run by Genocide, which is Apocalypse's son, and Clan Akaba. And so Magneto and Psylocke go to find out what's going on, because why is this guy Angel when we actually have, blue-skinned Razor Wing Angel helping us out? And it turns out that the Clan Akaba has been manipulating Angel, turning him into Archangel, tearing off his metal wings and implanting them into clones. So who we thought was Archangel was actually the first clone who has still imprinted memories of Angel, and that's why he was kind of able to break away. So they're captured. Phantom X and Mystique come in to save the day and save them, and they discover that all the clones are there, and Angel, busts out his Archangel persona and merges with the other one. So they're, two sides of the same coin, yin and yang type of personality, which I kind of get really tired of. And then he kills all the other clones. And that's kind of the crux of the story. It's very light on Apocalypse here, except for Apocalypse's machinations, I guess, with the whole Angel death persona. While it's probably the least connected to Apocalypse, it is the best of the crossover storyline. But yeah, so Apocalypse Wars, really, I really can't get too excited about them. It seemed like it had a lot of promise when it was announced, and then quickly crumbled. It was pretty frustrating. But let me know what you think. Maybe you loved Extraordinary X-Men's or All New X-Men's version of Apocalypse Wars. Let me know. Sound off below in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share. And I will be back to give you more Marvel goodness. I promise you that. And as always, it's all geek to us.